It is never too late for me to share my excitement that I recently experienced by attending my first TEDx Boston Talk. I'll have to say that there's a lot of inspiration that flows around in the air when it comes to TEDx Talks. There were 16 speakers, and they all gave us a thought provoking discussion, idea, thought to think about. UMass faculty were present, and that was really important because this was hosted at UMass Boston and the speakers were very, very interesting. And Dr. Jim O'Connell, who is the president of Boston Healthcare for the Homeless, gave a very compelling speech. It was heart touching about his work with the homeless community in Boston. Then we had this break, and I ran to get a cup of coffee. I couldn't wait to head back because I was like, I can't lose my seat, but I need a warm cup of coffee because I'm excited about what's to come with the next series of speakers. And so I'm rushing back to my seat. Now, someone who I found very inspiring through his transparent story, being diagnosed with bipolar, he is the founder of the Bipolar Social Club, but also the founder of over, what, maybe 20 nonprofit organizations. He's either founded it or co founded it. And of course, to my surprise and other audience members, he is the co founder of Embrace Boston. And we don't hear much about him, but he co founded it with Reverend Liz Walker. And so that's a correlation and a fun fact. And speaking of Embrace Boston, Mary Parrish Jeffries was a TEDx speaker. He's the executive director of Embrace Boston.
When
Here's
we
Amari.
created the Embrace, we wanted to create the most accessible monument in our country. There is an app that accompanies the Embrace that translates the experience into Haitian Creole, Spanish, Mandarin. For folks who are visually impaired, they can experience the Embrace as well.
And then there was the exciting part when John Werner, who actually organizes these TEDx Boston talks, and did a phenomenal job in communicating and engaging the audience, and as well as introductions, and simultaneously being the photographer. And I'll put a link to his work here. Called us to the red carpet as nonprofit organization leaders, and we stood on the TEDx red carpet. Maybe as future TEDx speakers, maybe not. Maybe just sitting in the audience, but that was fun. Then we had the opportunity to hear from more speakers, Elizabeth Jackson and Billy Starr, as well as Paul Nyhaus, who was great. He's a mathematician, and my friend that I often bump into, Jim O'Connell. Just a sidebar for a moment. I was mesmerized how John Werner was able to organize this, run around the auditorium, and capture some really profound moments, some frozen moments where we see the passion of the speakers. So, a shout out to John here.
But Chris Anderson bought TED and took the 18-minute talks and went to TV stations and said, "Hey, will you play these 18-minute talks that are amazing?" And the TV stations all turned them down. But then YouTube in 2005 came around, and Chris said, "Let's put them online for free." And everyone on Chris Anderson's team said, "Don't do it. It'll totally disrupt our business model." At the time, it cost the equivalent of a car to go to TED for a week. And they're like, no one will pay for the tickets. The exact opposite happened. And it's actually kind of interesting. And we're really proud to have all these talks that we're producing today be put into that.